All right, who put this little sticky up there? AJ, what did you put on the sticky?
It's really funny. You should read it. I can see it from here, but
All
I
right,
can't see all of it.
let me see what that says there, Spencer.
It says Bill Clinton like 30 times.
AJ, I love you, AJ. You're great, but you need a life. I mean, this is.
That was fun.
All right, now, AJ, while you're standing, can you kill lights, please? Thank you. All right, listen, I believe that this is a really easy quiz. And I believe if you're not getting it, there's a problem. Now, the third quiz in the series is Monday. There's also extra help Monday. One of the things I really like is that there are a handful of kids in this class who, if they're not getting 100 on a quiz, will show up at extra help, and they'll make me give them new quiz questions until such time as they get 100 on their extra help quizzes. Then they know they'll get 100 in here. So I would suggest that for you. Cynical?
Yeah, I know.
What were you thinking?
I don't know. I don't even know.
Was it you too, Carissa, with number one? There were two people in the room who this is what they did on number one. Ready? It says solve, okay? Hey. So the first thing they did is subtract 4x, and then you see them write x squared minus 4x minus 5 equals 0. Then they factor, then they stop. Oh, you're the other one who did that?
I also did that too.
Oh, okay, so we had three people in the room do that. Solve means x equals at the end. Can you keep going? You did everything right. You did all the hard stuff right. Just finish it off. Okay, this one. Hey, this one. I'm dumbfounded. You do remember yesterday we said that it all begins with this table, and that with a parabola there's symmetry. See, here's the parabola graph. It's the same on both sides. And whenever we do these tables, we always put the vertex or turning point in the middle. So the numbers have to pair up. Literally, the way I did this is I looked at the paper and I said, if I have a -3 up here, what do you know? You have a -3 down here. Then it said 2 here, so what do I know? You have 2 here. Then it said 6 here, so what do I know? 6 here. I just copied it. And then I looked at the other side and I said, okay, 6 blank 4 3. Okay, 5. Blank 1 blank 4 3 2. I got 2. 1 0. Then I take those points and I plot them over here. Now, I know that none of you are on drugs. However, some of your graphs looked like there's some serious hallucinogens being used in this classroom at this particular point in time. So, Sydney's going, yeah, I get real creative. So, it kind of went like this. Some people were like, here to here to here.
That's what I did yesterday.
I'm looking at this going, whoo, whoa, we got problems. Okay, now, the axis of symmetry is the line right up the middle. And any vertical line always begins x equals. The good thing is I don't think a single person just put a number today. So people, if you drew the picture right, everybody got the axis of symmetry right. Coordinate to the vertex is turning point, 3, 7. And clearly it's a maximum because of the turn. Now listen, there's several reasons I give quizzes in series of 3. First off, I love to laugh and joke, you guys know that. But I think we get a lot of work done. One of the things that kids have told me as far back as I can remember is at the end of the year their math notebook is their thickest notebook. That there's more work in their math notebook than there is in anything else. Which, yeah, that's what all the kids tell me. Now, I love a classroom where we laugh, where we joke, where Hillary Clinton is destroyed, and we get a lot of work done. I think that's really a great recipe for success. And I get that you can't give what I would call max effort every day. I understand that. I want max effort for what you can give on that day. There was a time period years ago where I thought my eldest son might have had cancer.
Oh, no.
It was very, very scary. And for 4 days I came to work, and for 4 days I did the best job I could. But my best job on those 4 days is not nearly as good as my best job on a regular day. The great news is he didn't have cancer. It was just a series of symptoms that mimicked it, but were not cancer. But we had to get the blood test done. It took 4 days. We had to wait a day to get the blood test done. Then we had to wait the better part of 3 more days to get the results back. And while you're waiting, you're eaten alive. You have the hardest time concentrating and doing your job. But I did it to the best of my ability. And I realized that there might be days where, like, some girls are into dance, and they have dance like all night long. And there are some days where kids are, where the play is going on, or the chorus is going on, or something's going on, and it requires a lot of your attention in any particular moment. And I don't have a beef with that. That's why I give you 3 chances. But some of you guys have used up 2, and you haven't produced yet. And you have to understand that if you have a series of 3 successive days, that you cannot dedicate one of those days to making sure you master everything on a quiz, then either what's going on is monumental, like when we thought my son might have had cancer, or you're not getting the job done. And you need to make sure that you get that job done, all right? To that end, that's why we record these videos. I don't expect that every kid, when they walk out of this door, is going to understand and remember everything from the lesson. Superhumans do that. But the truth is, some days you walk into the room and something's going on at home, or mom and dad are in an argument, or your mom yelled at you, or your dad yelled at you, or maybe your dog's not feeling good and something's bothering you. I get that. It doesn't make you bad. You're okay. But I want to make sure you still learn and overcome that really, really bad day. And the way we do that is through having these videos available. So please, if you didn't do well on yesterday's quiz, and you did not do well on today's quiz, when you go home tonight, get your quiz out, pop open the videos, and just watch the part of the videos where we discuss the quiz. And then kind of get a piece of graph paper and redo the quiz and make sure that you're getting it right the way that we went over it on the thing. If you do that, you're going to get 100. We both know that's the case. Now, one last thought before we move on to today's lesson. If you got 100 on the quiz, would you please raise your hand? Take a look around the room. Please don't tell me that you're not capable of getting 100 on this. All right, you're definitely capable. Okay, put your hands down. Now, all right, so let's see here. Let's go to today's lesson. And those 3 people who factored last time, do you see what the directions say? What does the direction say?
Solve.
Solve. So that means that I got to get to the point where it says x equals at the end. All right, nobody else is doing homework anymore. Now we're all getting focused on getting the lesson done and so on and so forth. So, x squared plus 6x minus 40 equals 0. It's already on one side. I can see the factors. X plus 10 times x minus 4 equals 0. Maybe it's the guy on the left. Maybe it's the guy on the right. I'm just going to do this very quickly. X is negative 10, x is 4. Usually I like you to show work, but I have limited space and limited time. Do I reject the negative?
No.
No. How come? Jano?
Because the situation doesn't call for that.
Right, we call that context. Very good. There is no context in which you would do that. If it was a length, if it was time, then I would think about it. Okay, next one. I want to get it all on one side, and I always, always, always want the x squared to be positive. I never want that x squared to be negative. So that means I have to subtract x squared, add x, add 32. Subtract x squared, add x, add 32. When I do that, I get x squared plus 12x plus 32 equals 0. That's easy to factor. It's x plus 8 times x plus 4 using that AM technique. I know we're factoring that quickly, but after all the factoring we've done, you should be able to factor it quickly. Cutting to the chase in an effort to save time, -8 and -4. Any questions? Okay, yes.
What's that number? I don't know.
X squared plus 12x
No,
plus
above
32.
that, it says X.
I just made all of these the opposites and put them on the other
No,
side.
but I mean, like, what does it say? It's right in the middle, like underneath the equal sign.
Well, it's a
line.
plus x, because I'm lining the
Okay.
x's up, okay?
Oh,
All right, any other questions? All right, so let's get going today. And I think we'll talk a little bit more about solving and perhaps how it all relates graphically and so on and so forth. All right, so given this quadratic equation, can you find the points where it's gonna cross the x-axis? Now, this is the same exact quadratic equation we just did a minute ago. And the answer is, now look very carefully at what they're saying here. Can you find the what? Points. So the points would be, God bless, -10, 0, and also 4, 0. Now, we just did the solutions to this a minute ago, and it came out to -10 and 4. Remember that? Okay. So, because they want the points, now if they said the x-intercepts, would I write it like this? No. If they said the roots, would I write it like this? If they said the zeros, would I write it like this? No. If they said any of those things, I would just go over here and write -10, 4. Okay. How can we write a corresponding quadratic equation if we are given a pair of roots? Now, we can reverse engineer it. And that's what we've been talking about the last couple of days when we've talked a little bit about aliens and Roswell and how supposedly they reverse engineered an alien craft and coincidentally, whatever, and I truly don't know what's going on here and I don't care, I'd rather catch fish. Maybe that's how we got to hypersonic speeds and so on and so forth, and space travel and everything else. All right, so I know that an answer is -10, and I know that an answer is 4. Now, I can then say, well, the factor must have been x plus 10, and the factor must have been x minus 4. In other words, what must it have been to give me these answers? And we know that when we get the answers, we reverse the roots to get the answers. So if I reverse the answers, I get the roots. And then it would be equal 0, and then I can double distribute it back out again, and when I do that, I would get x squared plus 6x minus 40 equals 0. Now, there is one other way to do this, and we talked about it on the calculator, and let's do it again so that everybody understands. Let's go to Stat, Edit. When we go into Stat, Edit, we are going to list these points. Now, when we list these points, we're going to go to L1 and L2. L1, L2, and we're going to list -10, 0, 4, 0. Okay? So we're only going to put 2 points in. Now remember how to clear it out. If you want to clear out L1 and L2, you got to get the cursor above the line at the top onto L1 and hit clear enter. And then also do the same thing for L2, and that'll clear out the whole.
Wait, what are we doing?
Yeah, but the numbers still under there.
Wait, slow down a second, one at a time. Sari, what did you say?
The numbers are still there.
You have to go up into the top and hit clear enter. Ready? Okay. Now, after you get the numbers in, go to Stat, Calc, because you're going to calculate something, and then go down to Quadratic Regression.
It's giving me domain errors.
What does it say?
Error domain.
Domain errors.
Error domain?
Yeah.
This thingy.
ERR
Oh, it works for now.
colon domain.
Yeah.
Let me go to Stat, Edit.
Error domain.
There's a tiger in it.
Stat, Calc.
See, and then it says that.
It says Godo.
Go to.
I'm not sure why that happened. Yours worked out, right?
Goto.
Oh,
Looks like Goto.
mine, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know why there would be an error if there was an error.
Use a different calculator.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's
it
like-
shouldn't be. Sometimes if you do second mem 712 and reset it, it'll work its way out. But understand that if you're given the points, you can always put them into, oh, you know what, it might be the problem too. Maybe I want a third point. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe we need a third point on the line. If we need a third point, you know what? That's probably the issue. I probably need a third point to make it work. Very quickly, I happen to know that one of the points on this is 1. If I plug in a 1, I get 7, negative 33. Go to the list and put in 1, negative 33.
How do you get to list again? I forgot.
What? That seems awful big.
Mine worked.
Loisa.
I don't know.
Yours did work? I don't know why yours worked.
I got it.
Loisa.
I didn't post
Here's
the
1B,
numbers in
6,
my
negative
phone.
Okay. So maybe what they're looking for is a third point. Okay. In the last lesson, we learned about the symmetrical nature of a graph or a quadratic equation. How can we use that information for the vertex of the graph? So check it out. Ready? 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's negative 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4. Isn't it obvious? Listen, watch along here. Isn't it obvious? Hey, don't look down at your paper. Isn't it obvious that if these are the two roots, the axis of symmetry is going to go right in the middle of the two roots? Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Because the axis of symmetry is always in the middle. Well, what number is in the middle between negative 10 and 4?
Is it like 7? Negative 7? Negative 6? Is it 6?
How do you find the middle of two numbers?
Add them together and divide by 2.
Good. What's negative 10 plus 4?
Negative 6.
Divide by 2.
3. Negative 3.
So x equals negative 3.
Oh, okay. I
Is going to be your axis of symmetry. Okay? All right. Any other questions? All right. Now, how can we use this using key features of the graph to actually do the graph? Well, this is how we can graph very quickly using kind of like x-intercepts, y-intercepts. So I'm going to go here. Hey. Nobody should be packing up. Look, don't put your sheet away. Now, all I do is this, ready? One root will be negative 2. One root will be positive 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the middle between negative 2 and positive 5 is 1.5.
Positive 2. Oh wait, never mind.
Now, listen, hey, one other thing. When you do this graph, it's going to be an upside down graph. Remember we talked yesterday about the negatives in the front? So the graph will go, I'm not sure about the value up here. I could plug in the 1.5 and see. That would be negative 1/2 times 6.5. So yeah, more or less that area. And that would be a quick sketch of the graph. Okay? So you can do the roots, split the middle. In this case, it's x equals 1.5. And then you can be more accurate than I was, calculate that point, and the negative means upside down. See you later. Hasta la vista, vaya con Dios, toodaloo, ta-ta, arrivederci, smile a lot, ciao, arrivederci, adios amigos y amigas, cheerio, carushus, kadates, enjoy, see ya.